It's been an incredible year for us here at PodCrash. We launched the show, we sat down with some amazing people, and we even took the podcast on the road. So to wrap up the year, we've got one more gift for you, a best of episode. This features some of my favorite moments and conversations from 2025. You'll hear from guests like Anthony Scaramucci, Jesse Itzler, Daymond John, and plenty more. So I hope you enjoy it. This is PodCrash, best of 2025. And the personal brand thing, how did that evolve for you? Did you always know that my brand is gonna matter? Was there a revelation to you at some point, or?
Yeah, it was a revelation. So I started a or like a very small form of personal branding behind my partners and I when we started FUBU. And why? Well, we felt that, for African Americans who, if we all felt that we like something, because hip hop is not, it's just like anything else. Some people dress grunge looking, some people dress high, super gloss, some people dress whatever the case is, right? Afrocentric, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if all of us like something, we felt that it was good enough for the market. When we started getting the brand out there, we decided we want to push ourselves. Well, a couple of reasons. We had LL Cool J, but if he decided to leave or he, did something that was against in the public's eye, something they didn't like, well, it would ruin the whole brand. So we had a 4-prong approach. One, we would do a quarter of the advertising, LL Cool J. Another quarter of the advertising, beautiful people, models, and somebody sees themselves as the model. Oh, what if you didn't see that as a model? Another, you didn't like the way that guy or girl looked. Well, another one was just the product. And then another one was us. Do you know who the founders are of For Us, By Us?
Yep.
Right? And so I put myself out there like that. I then started to...
At that young age, you had that strategy already.
That was the strategy.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's not this well thought out thing. It was, in the basement, we thought about it, drinking a couple of 40 dogs and drinking some fork rinds, right?
Some of the world's major problems.
Yeah. Sorry. And then, I started work with like the Kardashians. I helped brand them for their first couple of years on the show. If you ever notice, if you ever see season 1, 2, and 3, I went around to everybody in town and I said, hey, for $75,000, I can get them to wear your entire clothing brand. And everybody said, oh, we don't know who these people are. They're not going to be, I'm telling you, I said, these girls are going to be hot. I couldn't get anybody.
Okay.
So I put my own brand, Coogee, on them. You'll see the Kardashians all wearing Coogee the first 3 years. But I started brand them. I started work with Pitbull. I started work with Lennox Lewis. So many other brands and people I work with. But all of a sudden, I started to realize that I'm going in to do deals with them, and I'm with them. And people are talking to them more than they're talking to me. I'm their partner, or I'm helping them out. And I realized that their brand was entering the room before they were entering the room. And this is now, the girls weren't known now.
Okay.
Kim's tape had just came out. They didn't want the tape out. People think they put that tape out on purpose. They did not. The show almost got canceled.
Because of it, yeah.
Because of that. And then I realized I had to start branding myself. So then I put out a book. And then I started branding myself. But the book wasn't about this glossy kind of sizzle reel. This book was about the hardships of entrepreneurs and what we got to go through. And that slowly started gaining steam. And then I got called on Shark Tank, and I started to put all the things I've done, whether it's FUBU or Coogee or the Kardashians or, all these other brands. I put that behind my own personal brand, and it started to obviously, take. But social media just started at the same time.
Yep.
So it was kind of like I was doing it simultaneously when the world was starting to brand each individually.
Interesting. What I think I know what you're going to say on this, but when it comes to a personal brand, what do you think the most important factor is?
Being true, right?
Being
honest. Everybody wants it to be glossy. You can't be glossy. Old Dirty Bastard was an old dirty bastard. That's what people bought into you for. People see through that. You want to say you're here. When you're here, everybody is some level of a brand, right? You know what's a brand? When you go in, you can go in. My mother used to buy peas or beans or green beans, and there was the Jolly Green Giant.
Yep.
One person's going to say, I'm buying the Jolly Green Giant because I'm going to I don't have a lot of money for my family, but I buy the Jolly Green Giant because that's the time we can treat ourselves.
Okay.
Another person gonna say, boy, that's green beans. I ain't buying no goddamn Jolly Green Giant. I'm more frugal because I'm saving money for this.
Yep.
A brand is a brand. A brand delivers on a promise. It's a vacation. It's a destination, right? And so you can be the kind of I'm keeping a real tree hugging person, but you're running around with your Land Rover and your Yeti and your whatever the case is, or you can be a luxury person, right? It all depends, but you have to be consistent with the brand, you know, and because people will see through it.
Yeah, I was assuming that's what you would say is the most important, and you're never gonna please everybody, impossible, so be true to who you are, and those who like you will like you.
Yeah, be exactly true to who you are. You're right about that.
Alright, so, this is new, this, PodCrash thing, so thank you for, breaking it in for us. We got this cool way we're gonna try to end it.
All right.
We're gonna call it the Crash Course, and it's an acronym, CRASH, in as short a way as you can express it. So in the Crash Course, what would you say the C is challenges that shaped your journey?
Challenges that shaped my journey was, being the man of the house at a very young age, not knowing what I didn't know. Um, Financial intelligence or the lack of.
Mhm.
I think those are the biggest challenges.
Thank you. Risk for the R, risk you took that paid off.
Risks I took that paid off was, turning my house into a factory and sleeping next to sleeping bags
Heard
while
the
I
story.
while I while I made clothing, at night, and I worked at Red Lobster during the day and rented out all the rooms in my house, for like I think they were $25 a week to total strangers while I slept in sleeping bags next to the sewing machine,
Laid it all on the line.
all online.
The A, advice you would give to your younger self.
Well, it would be getting financial intelligence because we're not taught any financial intelligence in our school system. So people feel like they're embarrassed that they don't have financial intelligence, but we were never taught that coming up. None of us in this country. It's something that is most important because we're all of us are going to have to learn how to use, credit and interest and all these things. And the data shows 65% of lotto winners and athletes are bankrupt 3 years after winning
Yeah.
the lotto or leaving the league. That means they didn't know how to use the money, the tool of money. So that would be the number one advice growing up, and the number two would be, saying that money is a great slave but a horrible master. As I opened up with the crash car business, if you let money dictate your actions, well, then it's a horrible master. You're never going to win. Most of the people that I know that allowed money to dictate them growing up, they're either dead or in jail.
The financial intelligence thing we talked about earlier, like the children's book, like that was one of the things you did with that was to teach it to young
Yeah,
kids, which I think is awesome.
Little Daymond Learns to Earn was the only book entrepreneurial made for children that hit New York Times bestseller.
That's awesome. My kids are 8 and 5, so I think I told you I'm gonna check the book out
Yeah.
because like I'm sitting here thinking, how do I teach it? How do I teach it to them? All right, the S, success. What's your definition?
It's going to be the same thing that everybody is doing what you absolutely love and waking up every single day and doing it, and being extremely passionate to know that you challenge yourself every day.
I love you said everybody's gonna answer the same, so we might want to change that for the next time. Find something else for the S to be. And then this one probably get a lot of similar answers, I think, but habits that drive your daily success.
Habits, it's goal setting. It's reading the same goals every single night before I go to bed.
Okay.
They expire in six.
You literally review them every night.
Yeah, you read them. 6 of them expire in 6 months. The other 4 expire in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and 20 years. I read the same things when I wake up. Same exact goals. Because, we become what we think about most of the time. And if you aren't in charge of the goals and the things you want to do, you will let other people set goals for you. That you're always going to be in an abusive relationship. You're never going to grow that business to be that size. I've never heard of that before. Not in our family. You're going to embarrass yourself. You're going to embarrass us. This is how people look. This is what people do. This is what's going to happen to you. And if you hear that more of the time than you filling yourself with what you want to think about, you will become what you think about most of the time.
Yeah, yeah. I learned that too. Books that I read. It's all about what you think matters
And
a
by the
big
way,
time.
I didn't
Yep.
come up with goal setting. It is Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, or The Secret, or Brian Tracy Goals. There's hundreds of books written on manifestation and goal setting. And I promise you, all these authors from way different times in history didn't just all get together and say, let's make this concept. And so, understand what goal setting is. And I like Napoleon Hill. I think that's the most powerful one about it.
I mention that one all the time. That was the book that taught me the power of how we think and what we
That's
think
it.
about. Yeah. Biggest lesson, that you've learned that you would want to pass on.
Not to take yourself that seriously. I think the biggest lesson is you got to lean into your mistakes, be able to I got fired from the White House after 11 days. If someone says 10, I'm like, man, why would you hurt my feelings? It was actually 11. I mean, why do we got to
Cut it by 10%.
it's 9.1% of my federal career. Why are you going to hurt my feelings like this? I think you got to own your mistakes in life. And I think you got to get comfortable with them and be comfortable in your own skin. The other thing, and this is the hardest thing to do. And so if you're listening, I don't do this every day and don't want to come across self-righteous or pedantic. I am still a work in progress on this, but you ready?
Mm-hmm.
You got to live in the present. The ancient philosopher Lao Tzu said, if I'm living in the past, I'm thinking of my mistakes. You made them, I've made them. Took the road, you went left instead of right. Maybe you would have worked more money or something would happen better. And if you drive yourself crazy by thinking about your past, it'll make you depressed. Moreover, if you're thinking about your future, well, guess what happens? The future's unknown, and we don't know what's going to happen in the future, so we can get anxious. So if you're going this way, you're going to get anxious, and if you're going backwards, you're going to get depressed. So dial into the present. I'm here with you today in this beautiful studio. You got an amazing staff, an amazing company, and we're learning from each other. And I'm taking a big, deep breath in, and I'm living dialed into the present. Can't worry about what's going to happen tomorrow. The market may crash, market may go up. I can't worry about it. Moreover, if I did something stupid in the White House 8 years ago that got my ass fired, I can't kick myself in the pants. I don't wake up in the morning and kick myself in the pants for my mistakes. I think that is the biggest lesson. And I'm here also to tell you, I don't do that every day. I'm not perfect at that. So I don't want to say with any level of self-righteousness, it's okay not to get it right, but try to get that right.
I feel you on that. I work a lot on being present in conversations because I used to hear it from my wife all the time. You're here, but you're not. I mean, in my mind,
Yeah, because you're
a million miles away.
Yeah, because you're consumed about the business and what if this happens or what if that happens or this supplier's raising prices. How am I going to get that price increase passed through to my customers, right? You got all kinds of shit that's going on in your life.
Yeah, so that present thing is important, especially for family, and it makes me better at work too. Like
Makes you a better parent.
you're not looking at the phone when you're talking to somebody else as much.
Makes you a better parent, man.
Yeah. The last question we've been ending this with, because we're all about championing people, is if you were going to champion somebody else, who would you call out and why?
I mean, the first person that comes to mind actually for me is my wife, actually, if I'm being honest with you.
Well, that's the easy one. When you go home, you get
Yeah.
rewarded for calling her out.
Yeah, but let me call her out by calling myself out. All right. I'm gonna have a real conversation with you, okay? I was off the reservation about 8 or 9 years ago. Okay. I wasn't a great parent, probably wasn't the best husband. And then I went to go work in the White House. And we ended up in a situation where she filed for divorce on me.
Okay.
Okay, and you ready? And then she gave birth on July 24th, 2017. You know where I was? I missed the birth of my son. I was in West Virginia at the Boy Scouts event, and I couldn't get back to New York because there was a no-fly zone around the plane. So now, 8, 9 days later, I'm fired from the White House. I'm lit up by every late-night comedian, excoriated on SNL, on the front page of every newspaper. My wife has filed for divorce on me, and I missed the birth of my son. Okay, so if you're ever having
a rough week,
if you're ever having a bad day, Matt, as long as it's not cancer, fucking call me, okay? I'll try to cheer you up. But there I was, and I had to build myself back up, and I really loved her, and thank God she really loved me. And we figured out a way to reconcile and rebuild our relationship and rebuild our marriage. But let me tell you something, that takes 2 people to do that. Okay, and her willingness to want to do that, I'm going to call her out on your podcast and say that it's made a very big difference in my life and the lives of my children.
Oh, that's awesome. And I do believe, like,
How real is that, brother?
That's-
okay. I mean, come on, you can't get any more real than that.
thanks for all of it.
Starting to have forehead sweat from the fucking anxiety of reliving that on your podcast. They're calling this PodCrash. That was a big crash for me 8 years ago.
Now let's talk about the young people perception. And, there's this whole perception, young people today don't want to work. I haven't found that to be my experience at all.
Yeah.
But what have you seen?
I think it's totally perception, and it's a perception we're trying to change. The youth, they need direction. They need to know somebody cares. They need to know what the purpose is and that you're going to invest in them. That's how we see it. And you can't think about the purpose of what this work is all about, to repair these beautiful pieces of art, these ADAS-equipped vehicles, and put them back on the road to make sure families and people are safe. That's a pretty powerful mission, pretty powerful purpose. And so with people like your company and what we're trying to teach in our schools with the apprenticeship programs is just that. Here's an opportunity for you to do something that matters, to be surrounded by people that care for you, and grow your career, grow your own personal development. And the sky's the limit. Maybe you want to weld, maybe you want to paint, maybe you want to run a shop, maybe you want to be an insurance adjuster, or maybe you want to come and work for a rental car company.
Right.
The sky's the limit, and that's what youth is looking for today. And they don't want a lot of debt, and they want to hit the skills and hit the ground running and contribute.
Yeah, we see the world the same in a lot of ways. Of course, when you start being on social media and talking about these things or whatever, you get the feedback that disagrees with you, which I appreciate. Some of them would say, what you don't realize is kids don't want these jobs. Like, they're hard, and so I think it can be a short-sighted thing if you don't know what else is possible.
Right.
So maybe so, and some will love it because to work with your hands and see the artistic part of it, to take something that's been wrecked and transform it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reward in that. But beyond that, there's so much in the ecosystem, other opportunity that it has everything to do with fixing a car, but actually the day-to-day grind has nothing to do with fixing a car. And is that how you see it too?
It's how we see it, and that's where this is the greatest struggle. We keep talking to our industry, but we got to show the world. We got to go outside of our industry and show and create this great opportunity, this great educational opportunity. We need a Got Milk campaign. That's what we need, Matt. Remember how all the farmers got together to get more milk in people's homes?
Yeah.
And
exactly
I drink a lot of milk
trying
coming
to do,
from
I think.
Wisconsin, That's what we need. We need a Got Milk campaign. We need a Mike Rowe to help us. We need to tell the world that this is a viable, impressive opportunity for so many.
So from the Got Milk idea, since we don't have right, and we don't have a Got Milk campaign yet, in your effort to kind of create that, what's been done then is the Collision Engineering Advisory Board. I think the title might even be a little fancier than that. So you form this board, in effect, to get the word out, right? So
well, it's twofold. So let me explain it. So from the very beginning, I had an industry advisory board that helped enterprise and us make decisions on how to take this program, how to build this program out. Very helpful. But what we require in every market where we have a school, and we have 7 schools today, is that each of the schools have a collision engineering advisory board.
Okay.
Every school has their own advisory board. This is in addition to that. And that advisory board includes the local community. It includes shops. It includes enterprise people. It includes community stakeholders, glass companies, insurance companies, you name it, along with the instructor and the school. And the concept there is to work together to develop the program for that school and that local market, whether they need mentors or they need more instructors. That advisory team guides the school's program. And the long-term strategy here is that we're not going to solve this at a national level. We're going to solve this at a community level. So if you think about it, you've got a school in a community with a strong community advisory team constantly building the school. And at the end of the day, they're pumping out collision repair professionals into the market where they all live and work. So it's a long-term strategy. And the advisory board plays a key role there and building that within each of the communities where we operate around the country.
Excellent. So what I found to be the challenge is this. For some decades, the whole push has been need to go to college, which again, I'm not against that. But schools, that's the path that schools are promoting.
Right.
And I would say to myself, say 10 years ago, if I'm sitting in front of parents of 16, 17-year-old kids,
Yeah.
how would I pitch, come work with us?
Yeah.
And then fast forward to today. How would you pitch to parents of young people, there's a great career here? What would be your pitch?
You have to
And
educate.
sorry for putting you on the spot.
No. You have to educate them that 4-year college degrees are fantastic, but there are other options. That 2-year colleges that teach the trades and teach skills provide a tremendous opportunity for your son or daughter to grow in a career that is of interest to them. For example, take collision repair, and you walk them through the path, the opportunity, and then the financial reward. I mean, these kids are graduating and they're starting at $80,000 to $100,000 a year. That's incredible. And so it's creating awareness to another opportunity versus what we've always been told. It's creating awareness versus what's your pitch. That's how I feel about it.
No one ever taught me about business. My dad, like I said, owned the plumbing supply house. We didn't talk about money. He worked 6.5 days a week. Like, we didn't talk about, like, he just worked, like he went to his little thing and went on. So I didn't know. And for a lot of people, that's super intimidating. Like, oh, I don't have enough experience. I don't know anything about business. But for me, it was the best gift because it guaranteed that everything I did would look different than my competition. Because most of the people in the industries that I was in, they were doing the same thing that everybody been doing for 50 years. But like when you rip up that playbook that everyone's been using for the last 50 years in insurance, in whatever you sell, that's where innovation comes from and disruption comes from. So everything we did looked so different. The way we talked about our airplanes, the way we marketed, our logo, everything smelled
Because you
different.
had no history.
We had no history. No one taught us what to do.
No, this is the way it's supposed to be done.
Right.
In-
No, this is how I want it to be done.
Yeah.
I'm a customer. This is how I want to be talked to. This is how I want to be pitched.
That's a great perspective
Yeah.
and did make you different. Yeah, I get it.
Because you know what happens if you read the how-to book, you do the same thing everybody else is doing.
And there's
Like,
nothing unique about it.
yeah, like what?
Yeah.
If you're an entrepreneur, you have to ask yourself, what's unique about my product? What's unique about my service? How am I different than everybody else? Like those are important questions to ask yourself, and to be able to answer. Like I always say to people, like, imagine you're sitting in front of Gayle King on the morning show, and she asks you, tell me about your business. Is everyone in your organization going to answer it the exact same way? If she says, how are you different than everybody else? Can you answer that? Will everybody answer it the exact same way? Like putting yourself in situations where you're being interviewed and saying, hey, do I know the answer to that question is a really good way to you and your entire organization, because everyone has to be lockstep in that stuff, to move forward.
Yep, that's the world I live in. We're up to, 10,500 people now, and the message is different. And so that's what started some of this kind of social media and messaging, and now the podcast is, it started from messaging our own team and getting everybody to think and message the same. It's hard when it gets bigger.
Oh, definitely.
Your path has been so much different than mine. So, mine's a success now, but like 30 years in the making. I've started doing collision work when I was 16, and now I'm that far into this industry, where yours have been just completely different, completely random. You build it, sell it, jump in. It's not like a lifelong passion or a business you fell in love with.
No.
And yet, what makes that work for you? Is it the challenge of the new idea, or it's something that you're into at the moment? Or because it isn't It's completely different than the way I like. Mine's been a long time getting good at something before it really takes off.
Well, our brains are wired completely differently. And I
Uh-huh.
think that, everybody's wired differently. And my wife went a mile deep into Spanx. Her company was called Spanx, and that's all she did for 20 years. I mean, she had blinders on, and she was really good at saying no. Distraction is probably the number one enemy to everybody listening to this podcast, getting pulled in too many directions. And my wife was really good at putting blinders on and not being distracted around her business, her mission to help women, and her product. I'm the opposite. I need a lot of balls in the air. I get bored easily. I operate best with multiple things happening. It's just the way that I'm wired. It's also exhausting and requires for me to take like some breaks. Like I just said to my wife, like I can't do anything right now. Like
Okay.
I can't take a meeting. I can't answer a question. I have such decision fatigue. I can't I have to have someone ask me like, do I wear a collared shirt for this interview with Matt? Like, what do I do? And my wife was like, that's just the way your brain's wired. When you're ready to go back into like attack mode, you'll start attacking again. So everybody, does things differently. Some people think better when they're in motion. Some people think best in a car, in a commute. Some people, journal. Everybody has a different system. You got to figure out what works best for you. And you did. But the thing is, one thing you have is business endurance. You've been able to hang it in this thing for a long time.
In some ways, it's a superpower because if I wouldn't have
100%.
had it, I would have
It's a
never
massive
accomplished
superpower.
it. Yeah.
And what you did is you started attracting luck because you created it. You created luck by putting yourself, even you just told me a story how you wrote someone a note and pick up their bill to get a meeting. At this stage of your journey, you're still like
Yeah.
creative hustling. And so
How to make it happen, right?
you make it happen. Like you created your own luck. And over the years, it paid off in a big way. You also didn't
So
quit.
yeah,
I'm sure there's many times where you wanted to quit or thought like, can I do this? Or
I kind of viewed it as I didn't have a choice. Like I didn't have anything else going, and didn't have the next greatest idea. So some of that too, I think you seem to get a lot of good ideas.
that's my superpower.
Yeah,
And then I find someone to execute them because I'm a terrible operator.
but you got the great idea.
I have really good ideas. I'm really good at seeing, I think, and that they don't all work. I'm also not scared to try things. And if they don't work, I mean, I've had a lot of businesses that haven't worked too, but I do feel like, because I'm looking through my lens of what would make my life better. Entrepreneurs either create something new that didn't exist or they improve on something. So I'm always looking at things like, how can I make this mic better? Maybe if it had maybe this comes with 10 different color, I don't know. But I'm just always thinking about stuff like that.
That's really cool. And you'll probably have 10 more great business
Getting
ideas.
tired,
Yeah.
4 kids. Yeah.
Do you see that same quality in your kids?
They're young.
Or they're more the
I
style
do.
of their
They're
mom?
curious,
Yeah.
My parents did a really good thing. Like now, I think, and I'm guilty of this, but a lot of kids are overscheduled. They're really overscheduled. And I would say my kids are probably overscheduled too. But when I was a child, I was bored a lot. Like my mom would take me she was on the board of education in my town. So she had a meeting once a month that was 3 hours. We didn't have a babysitter. She'd be like, grab crayons and grab
Yep.
a coloring book, and you're going to sit in there for the 3 hour meeting. And I would be like so bored. But then I'd start thinking like, what if I played for the Knicks one day? What if I like became a pilot one day? Like I started just like dreaming. And I think that a lot of that is lost in kids now because they have so many inputs. They have podcasts, they have social media, they're scheduled like crazy, and like, where's the time to just
For
think?
the
Yeah,
imagination.
and the imagination.
There was GPT 3.5 was this like model that OpenAI came out with. And this was before anybody was talking about AI. This was probably 2021.
Okay.
And we were early partner with them because we know Sam Altman, the CEO, and we went to Y Combinator, which is this like
startup accelerator out in the Bay Area that Airbnb and all these other OpenAI went through and stuff like that. And so we knew these guys at OpenAI. They were still mostly a nonprofit, and they had this early model, and we tried to use it for a very simple thing, which was responding to reviews, because we have this reviews product. Everybody uses it. You guys use it, and responding to reviews is a really important thing, but it takes a lot of time. And so we tried to use GPT 3.5 to respond to reviews, and it totally failed. And we would feed the review to the AI and ask for it to create a response. And you'd feed it a 1-star review, and the response from the AI at the time was like, "Hey, we're a small business. Don't be mean to us."
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So we're like, that's not going to
That's
work.
not what you want to do, but it's funny that that's what they
Like,
did.
create a response to this thing. And so we're like, okay, this is going to have to advance quite a bit before we could actually use this, because that makes no sense.
I think I asked today in a question of like, well, this thing keeps getting so good, but how do you have it not start to go off on a customer? Like, no, actually, customer, you're wrong. Let me school you. Like,
Yeah.
So tell us about Jerry.
Okay.
So this is where it's pretty impressive, really, where things are headed, and by the way, I view it as this is help of stuff that like our people don't want to do. They don't love doing it. Like, so it's not like necessarily like everybody worries like, is it going to be a threat to the people? I view it like this stuff can help you with stuff that you have to nag people to do consistently and well, because they'd rather do other things.
Yeah.
So I think Jerry's pretty cool, but
Yeah. So we tried to use AI back in 2021, didn't work. We put that on hold for a while, and then I think GPT-4 came out, and I'm trying to get the dates right, but it's 2025. I think it was like sometime at the end of 2023. This new model came out, and it was really impressive. And so we started thinking like, hey, let's see if this could this new AI model, could we use it to respond to inbound leads for a car dealership? Just very specific use case. And we put an engineering team on it, our smartest engineers, and we said, your job is to use this, figure out if it can respond to leads and schedule test drives, and then go sell it to a bunch of our customers. And they did it, they worked on it, and it worked. And it was the AI the LLMs have gotten advanced enough that you could give it a goal, and it could follow that, and it was personal, and everything you want in a person and in a worker, friendly, knowledgeable, always on, never passive aggressive, never had a bad, like never is having a bad day,
right, or rushed.
Yeah. And so we built this very simple thing. Can we schedule test drives with AI? And we did it, and it worked. And it is that's Jerry. We named him Jerry. I don't know, really is, we like Seinfeld, so we probably just named him Jerry because it's Jerry Seinfeld. But also Jerry's just a good name. You want to talk to a Jerry?
Sure.
Hey, it's Jerry. What's up? So we built Jerry, and this thing took off. And today, over 3,000 car dealerships in the U.S. use Jerry to schedule test drives and service and all these other things, and all of these other businesses. We have 6,000 Jerrys, and you can name them whatever you want, obviously, but we have 6,000 Jerrys working for local businesses in the United States today. And it can do everything from scheduling test drives to service to diagnosing what's wrong with your AC unit. And it's just crazy. Like it sounds imaginary. It sounds like sci-fi, but it's real. And the technology is getting so good. Now Jerry can answer the phone. Now Jerry can make outbound calls. At first it was all just text. And our view is that, yeah, like you're right. The Crash Champions is great because you have great people.
Yep.
I don't think AI is ever going to replace that, but there is a limit to your growth based on how much your people are willing to do every day, right? Like you said, there's all these things that you should be doing that you want to do, but you can't because
and nobody wants to do it at 2 in the morning, but a customer might.
That's right. 10:30. You can't have an army of great people at 10:30 p.m. at night fielding people that got in an accident and need to get their car repaired with it through their insurance. But guess what? Most people, that's when they have time. They don't have time during the day. And so there's all this opportunity. And for up until now, you could do it through like a call center that's working off hours. You can do it through all these other ways. It's not really that good. And we've cracked into this technology, and we're using these models in a way it's augmenting these businesses and allowing you to grow in ways that you never could because it's just too expensive and prohibitive. So
yeah, for listeners, it's pretty good. I mean, like it's way beyond think of like calling a utility company where you know it's a computer and all you're doing is yelling representative in the phone to get past it. It does sound like a conversation and getting better. I mean, you told me Jerry even gets compliments from the like to show how good it is to anybody listening. He gets reviews himself, right?
Yeah, people will come into the businesses and ask for Jerry. And then they typically just say, Jerry's out to lunch, I can help you. But Jerry has reviews on Google. So people will leave reviews. Hey, I had a wonderful experience at this business, and I want to thank Jerry. He was great, blah, blah, blah. We have people that are flirting with Jerry. There's some, interesting stuff.
That's
awesome. No, people, and look, it's not a human yet, but like it's pretty awesome. You know, there's this customer, I think it was in Wisconsin, and this person was writing in, and they were saying that they were trying to schedule something for Monday, and it was a Sunday, and they said the football game was on, and Jerry starts going into all this Green Bay Packers stuff. Like
really?
Talking of like inside stuff that I would never know. I like football, but like I don't know this stuff, and Jerry's he just knows it. And so he's like going and creating this rapport with this customer about the Green Bay Packers. And so like it's really cool, and we think that it's going to unlock growth for businesses like Crash Champions. It's going to make growing any business to the next level easier than it was before this.
Marketing is an interesting thing. You know, there's the businesses that can't afford it, and then there's the thought of maybe you can't afford not to do it. What do you feel about marketing in a business as far as the importance of it? How much of a necessity is it versus word of mouth, et cetera?
I'm going to give you a historic answer, not a singular answer. So when I started, I was known as a marketing genius. I don't know if I really was one, but I had a profound and a comprehensive and a very unique proprietary understanding of marketing inside and out as far as entrepreneurial marketing goes. And for many years, that's all I did. And then I started doing very unique seminars that explored a whole facet of different elements of a business. And I came to a conclusion that as important as marketing is, and it is very important as a front-end driver of clients, initial sales, brand distinction, and superiority, it is a diminishing resource, meaning your ads will saturate, your competitors will emulate you, plagiarize you, innovate you, media changes, they change the algorithms or they raise the price, or if you're a company that markets and you have to go to a trade show and there's a COVID, you can't do it. And you have a lot of things that you don't have control over, and marketing is seen, and I used to think it was the be-all and catch-all, but Matt, I've come to the conclusion that more importantly is if you have a superior preemptive strategy, if you have a really great business model, if you have an absolutely kick-ass killer distribution channel sourcing network, if you have a better revenue approach, if you have a preemptive or a monopolistic advantage, if you have a whole network of partners sourcing for you and exposing you, that's far more enduring than marketing. But then good marketing becomes the cherry on the icing on the top of the sundae. But marketing is very important. Marketing is a key driver to what I'll call the front end of a business. And if you don't have a back end, it doesn't mean you shouldn't. We believe that everybody should find more ethical utility value in what they do, because acquiring your first transaction is the slowest, the hardest, the most expensive, the least profitable. And monetizing that goodwill and that connection and the integrity that comes from over-delivering is relatively easy, and it's many times more profitable. So I'm giving you maybe a little an attention deficit answer, but I don't know if that makes sense or not.
It does. Maybe to get even more specific, you've given and commented on if a campaign is failing when it comes to marketing, it's either because of the hook, the story, or the offer. And so, maybe some advice in those areas. What makes a good hook? And and a good
Well-
story and a good offer. And I didn't mean to throw all three of them to you all at once, but there's bad ones and good ones. What's the difference?
Well, I'm going to give you the safe one. I mean, you can get, there's a lot of unique esoteria that can work or not work, but it's much more nuanced. The safe one is you should always start with what is the biggest advantage, benefit, or problem you or your product, when it's deployed in somebody's life, is going to solve. The second is how and why is it going to solve them either better, faster, cheaper, more effectively, more enduringly. The third is how do you prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt? Credibility, reviews, comparability of the people the training of the people, the skill set, the materials you use, the process you use, the guarantee you use. Then how do you basically engage them? And how do you then get them to take action? And that's just a simple process, but frankly, most people don't do it. And a lot of marketing is very self-serving. And there's a concept, Matt, called the so what factor. You read something and you go, so what?
Right.
You want to read something that makes it, I mean, there's a fascinating, and I use this all the time. There's a Greek mythology about two orators. One is Pericles, the other is Demosthenes, and they're Greek, and Rome is attacking Greece, and they're trying to rally the town to go to war, and they all meet in the town square, and this famous orator speaks for about 4 hours, just silvery tongue, and when he's done, the people say that is the most wonderful, powerful, compelling speech we've ever heard. And then the other person is a lowly, uneducated farmer, but his family's been in Greece for eons, decades, and he loves the Greek democracy. He loves their belief system. He loves their freedoms. He loves the wonderment of the countryside. He loves the family unit, everything they stand for, and he's not comfortable even with eye contact. He's not well educated. He's inhibited, but he musters up the emotion and the energy to speak from his heart. And when he's done, everyone goes, let's march. And the key to good marketing is you want people to march.
I think one of the things that I keep working on is the ability to tell the story the right way. It's the story really that helps increase the perceived value of something. If you don't tell the story right, you might even do the opposite. You might deminimize it from not a great story. Do you find that to be a problem a lot of the times? And how do you coach people to think about that?
Well, I mean, storytelling is inherent in making your company, your product, your people preeminent. I love storytelling, and I think if you can do it right, but most people don't tell the story right. You want to tell your origin story. You want to not be afraid to have vulnerabilities. You want to show that you started the business for a reason, and the reason should be that you saw a void, or you saw a market that wasn't being served, or you saw an industry that was shortcutting the consumer. And you have to have a mission or a crusade, and the consumer has to resonate with it. And most people don't even think about that. They're just self-consumed. Let me tell you about us: quality, dependability, and service. Well, that doesn't mean squat to people. You need to basically understand what their definition of value is, and you've got to get them to see you as their advocate, as their champion, different from the maddening crowd of other purveyors that they could choose from. And if you're premium price, which I am, I mean, we get $120,000 a day, so you've got to be able to, make your value pretty clear and evident.
Is there a question that people should ask themselves to get to that when they're trying to get their own kind of story and offer set up?
There is, Matt, but it's going to often be answered incorrectly. The wonder drug phrase in business, and everyone should just really hear me out, it's reason why. What is the reason why I should do business with you instead of somebody else? And you have a business that I can't avoid doing. In other words, if I don't total the car or sell it to somebody as is, I have to fix it. I have to choose somebody to do it. I have to decide who's going to do the best job. And depending on who I am, I'm going to favor either the reputation and the qualitative result, or I'm going to favor the economic result. Depends on what my goal is. But you have to decide what you stand for, who you stand for, why you stand for it, what standing for it should mean in its expression to the consumer, the public, the prospect, and most people are way off the mark in that, frankly.
I think when I noticed I could be pretty good is I went to like a satellite camp. Pretty much a satellite camp is just like it's a destination at a university. So for example, my first one was at the FAU.
Okay.
And all the other coaches from any other schools in the country can come to that satellite camp and watch kids camp. And I think I just like woke up that day and was like, today I don't care what type of move I'm doing, I'm just not gonna get blocked today.
Okay.
And I didn't have any moves, and I just knew like I'm just gonna try to run through somebody. And I went out there and kind of did that, and then I think I ran like a 40. And I always been pretty fast to be my size. I had never ran a 40. I think I ran it like standing up, and I ran like I think it was a 4.6. I was probably like 260, 70 pounds, and after that day, I probably had almost every offer from all the colleges that was there. So that's when I figured, I was like, okay, I can try to do this.
Great confidence booster, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, it was.
If you're getting that much attention, you gotta think I got a chance at this.
Right.
That mindset of like, I'm not getting blocked today, like that just comes from the drive of you talked about it as a kid, like not everybody gets out. And is that where that comes from?
That is, yeah. I think that's my mentality as a person, almost. Like not even just football. It's like my drive and how I attack the day is almost like that. It's like I'm not getting blocked by an old lineman, but I also, when I wake up in the day, it's like I'm not getting blocked by whatever adversity hits me today. So I try to just like go straight through everything. So that's just my mentality as a person.
I say it all the time, like the obstacles are going to be there. Like
right.
you might as well just count on it. So
right.
Like, it's how do you go over it, under it, around it, through it?
Right,
like,
exactly.
For you, it's a real human in front of you, but for us in business, it's the same. Like it's overcoming those obstacles and running right past them.
Yeah.
University of Florida is where you went, and I know you got a huge fan base there. You're from there, so that selection had to be easy, right?
Right.
That's where you wanted to go.
Mm.
Right about then's when your father passed away, though, right?
Right.
Like
yeah.
Unexpectedly, it must have been.
Yeah, it was.
Couldn't have been that old.
Yeah.
How much did that rock your world from excitement, going to college, gonna go do this?
Yeah, it was a tough place for me just because obviously NFL, that was the end goal, you know what I mean? But that was just the start of, you know what I mean, of for him to see like those summers like that I told you about, where we ran the hill, and him telling me, hey, you probably need to try football. So that was gonna be the first time where he actually got to see, like, he was gonna be able to say, I told you, you know what I mean? If you did this or this will happen. And unfortunately, he didn't get to see that, so it was kind of tough for me to, you know what I mean, just kind of keep going. Kind of in my head, I was thinking like this whole time I was doing it, not obviously for myself, but just to, you know what I mean, this is what my dad wanted for me. This is what my dad wanted to see. And he made sacrifices as well. Like, you know what I mean, he was a hardworking man, but some days I would, like, if I had a 7-on-7 I played when I was younger, or a basketball tournament or a football game, he would leave work early, you know what I mean, just to see, you know what I mean, me play. So it was tough for me because now he, you know what I mean, he couldn't see not the end goal, but at least one of the biggest accomplishments that I had made. So it was definitely tough for me.
I got you.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't lost my parents yet. My dad and my mom divorced real young, so I wasn't that close with my dad. I mean, I love him because he's my dad, but he wasn't there. So I was never that close, but I imagine it's tough to get through. Did you just put your head down and bury yourself in the work, or is there something that helped you that somebody listening to this might also help them when they face it?
Yeah, I think the type of father he was, and just knowing that if I would have turned around and like not enrolled at the university, or if I would have, you know what I mean, went the other way, that would have been a complete opposite of what he, you know what I mean, what our goals were and what he wanted me to do. So I just kind of looked at it like that, is like, this was just only the start, you know what I mean? And I still had to finish. And I think about there was a video that had came out, and it was like I think one of the teammates, I think it was a track meet, and one of the guys got hurt. They were running like a relay. One of the guys got hurt, and he ran past his teammate, and he turned around and put him over his shoulder, and they ran through the finish line together. That's kind of about how I kind of looked at it. It's just like my father's down, but I got to finish the race. So that's pretty much how I got through it. And like I said, my mindset has always been that there's gonna be adversity. It might be something simple, it might be something huge. Just like I said, like losing my father, but I just had to go through it. I'm big in on Christ and just like what I'm saying, believing. That's just how I got through it for sure.
Interesting that the school they ended up going to, so the coach had a big influence on that decision, it seemed, right? So Coach Brown, how did he sway you?
So I was not gonna go to junior college, actually. I was gonna do something called a gray shirt and just go to, I don't know, whatever. It was a Division I school like Kansas or Marshall or something like that. Like I just was like, I'm not going to junior college. I'm way too good. I'll do what I have to do. And what a gray cert is essentially, you go there, you sit out the first semester, you earn like a 2.6 or GPA above in that semester of school, and then you can get an academic scholarship. So that's what I was gonna do. But then Coach Brown, he drove up from Kansas actually to my home in Minnesota, which was like 9 hours. He goes, "Hey, I'm gonna drive up tonight to come talk to you and your family tomorrow. And that's all I need is just some time of yours." And I was like, okay.
Was he the only, by the way, that drove up?
No, there's another school of coaches that drove up. It wasn't the head coach, so it was Dodge City. They drove to my house as well. But Coach Brown gets there, and he's just like, "Hey, I get it. No one wants to go junior college, but I promise." He goes, "I promise to God, if you come here and you just listen to me and you do what you know you're supposed to do, you'll be able to choose anywhere you want to go in the country to play." I don't know why. I prayed about it. Maybe that's why God was speaking to me, but I prayed about it and I ultimately just said, "Hey, sounds good to me. Let's go." So I ended up going to Independence Community College off of that conversation, and that's all she wrote.
That's great. You think you learned anything there that you wouldn't have learned had you jumped into a big school at first?
Man, yes, yes. I tell people all the time, if I had to go Division I first and then go there, I don't think I would make it. I didn't know any better. I thought that's what college was. I thought college was independence because I went there out of high school. I didn't know anything else. So every time we would get a Division I player, we called them bounce backs that would come there from the Division I school, they'd be so miserable and just like almost insufferable. And I would just, in my head, I'd be like, "Bro, what's your problem? Like, it's not that bad." But me being where I am now, it was 100% that bad. I just didn't know any better. But, God works in mysterious ways. And I was able to just kind of see the beauty in everything. I made lifelong friends. I had a good support system while I was there. And it just worked out so perfectly. For what it was, I made the best of it.
It seems like you pass that story on to young people. What is it that you advise young people the most as far as maybe when it comes to academics, especially because our industry is a blue collar industry, right? And we don't need college. Not that college is bad, but it's not needed to do well in our industry. So just curious as to what advice you give the young people.
Yeah, for sure. I get some of those occasionally. Like I said before, it's the lessons you learn while you're undergoing that. It's like it's so easy to be like, "Yeah, school's not for me." But then a lot of people just go home and then don't challenge themselves in any other aspect of their life. They just like to stay comfortable. That I'm not okay with. It's like, okay, school might not be for you. It wasn't for me at a point in time, but you still got to go choose to challenge yourself with something. You can't just say school's not for me and then just go play video games or smoke weed all day or, not really do anything productive or challenge yourself. So school, it's totally okay if school is not for you, but go seek another form of education, something that you're interested in, maybe a profession you'd like to do that, like you said, doesn't take a traditional college route. Go watch TED Talks, go study, go, look at case studies, go, challenge yourself in some aspect if that's the case. And then second, I got an opportunity to talk to my old team, Independence Community College. So they flew me out. Did you
I
watch
did.
that?
I saw that documentary a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, so they cut some of my speech off because I got a little verbal there. But so I was basically telling the guys like, "Hey, if you haven't noticed, I'm the only guy from there that is here. I hope you know that. So those are the odds you're facing. Maybe one of you makes it to where I am. Maybe. And then what your coach is telling me, who's my old defensive line coach, he's now the head coach. But I was telling them, he's telling me some of you guys are not going to class, not turning in homework. Junior college homework, by the way. Stuff's easy. It's not hard. Like, it's not. It's not hard. I promise it's not hard. And you guys aren't doing these things right, and you're smoking weed, and you're just not representing yourselves the right way. I'm like, think about it. If your chances are already maybe only one of you make it where I am, and then you add that on top of it, now that little chance might go away. So I'm like, you guys, like, you gotta understand, you're playing with fire. Like, you're playing with fire right now. So never put the pen to your story in anyone else's hands. You control all the controllables, and everything you can't control, leave that up to God or whatever you believe in. You know, I controlled what I can control to the best of my ability. And then whatever happened after that, I could live with, because I know I mastered what I can master.
Thanks again for being part of a great year here for PodCrash. How about one more gift for me? Please, if you can, like, comment, and subscribe to the show if you haven't already. It helps more than you think. We'll see you in 2026. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you want more PodCrash in your life, which of course you do, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Catch you next time.